This is my new website. It's called Random Rooms. There seems to be a problem with the NPC bot with inside of it. So let's jump into a random room and see who I'm talking about. His name's Terry, and he loves to talk to me. So say something, Terry.
Terry is owned by the room service, so the browser cannot spawn or script the NPC.
Oh, cool. Thank you for sharing that fun fact about you, Terry. I'm going to leave real quick. Another fun fact about Terry is that if you just stand there, he keeps talking. But if you join a random room specifically, so not really random, he doesn't spawn. So that's a way to keep him from interrupting you in your friends' conversations. But I've noticed that he has some similar sayings that he repeats over and over again. And I think that's probably because he has a problem with his Bedrock API. Bedrock is a service created by AWS. It helps people use some of the common LLM models to actually LLMs, large language models, it's implied model. Helps people use some of the more popular LLMs to do whatever they want to do, honestly. I mean, there's so many different applications, creating your own agents, talking to it directly yourself, getting like a chat bot going into whatever service you're doing. But yeah, let's look at the model catalog here. Literally anything you can think of. Claude, Fable, all that good stuff. Right. So Terry is supposed to be using, I think he does like Nova 2 Lite. I was like, what is the cheapest thing I can get? And I think it was this one. But let me ask real quick. What model Bedrock does Terry use in random rooms? Okay. Claude 3.5 Haiku. That's the Bedrock ID file for Terry's NPC. Okay. And the room service fallback default is in. Okay, so his fallback default is in here. Let me check that out. Let's just go code. Wait, let me just copy it. Boom. Let's open that file real quick. Let's check it out. Let's see what's going on. So it's only thousands of lines long. So what would that be called? Fallback. Okay, is there something that is somewhat close? Okay. Is there anything else in here that says like a list of things to talk about for Terry? Oh, here we go. This looks like fallback NPC lines. Chase splits this into front end, matchmaker, and room service, so each part has one job. Didn't he say something about himself? Terry is owned by the room service, so the browser cannot spawn or script it. See, dude, he's using these fallback scripts. I'm telling you. Here it is right here. Sorry. So what we need to do now is figure out why his Bedrock is not working and why it's falling back. Let me erase it real quick. I am going to guess that it's my quota. I asked for my quota to be increased. It was at 0, but the usual count default is like millions of tokens. So we're going to go over to the AWS quota, and I can't remember if I did it on this account or if I did it on the whole organization itself. So we're going to check real quick. It looks like we have to go to the organization. So I'm going to go to the management account and log in real quick as the master admin. Okay, continue. So a quota is like a set limit on the resources that you use within AWS. It's what AWS imposes upon you. So if you want to change it, you have to ask them politely. All right, let's go to, again, service quotas and check that out. Quota request history, no request found. Dude, I literally asked one the other day. What are we talking about? I will pull up the email if need be. Where is it? Oh, dude, no, I filed a support ticket. That's what it was for a quota increase. So let's go over here. Let's Support cases. Here it is. Wait, nope, that's when I ran up a bill. Is it over here then? Let me check. Support. Support. Check it out. This is in the debit account again. There it is. Bedrock is blocked. Okay. That took long enough. So one thing with AWS that you can do is file support tickets and they'll get back to you within usually 24 hours. If you spend a lot of money with them, then you can get a way faster response. So I'm on the basic tier though, so I don't have that. But basically what this is saying is I told them, hey, I'm not able to use any of the Bedrock models. I'd asked my account code to be raised to the default AWS account values. If we go over to service quotas, even in like, actually, we'll stay in the dev account right now. Ooh, I did not mean to pin that. Unpin. Let's keep it over here. Duplicate. So if we go over here and we look up our service quotas and we check out, I'm just going to check out the one that I'm using. We're going to go Bedrock. And then let's search for, I think it's called Haiku 3.5 or something like that. Haiku 3.5. Is that something? 3-5. Okay. 3-5 dash. Somewhat training and validation records for cloud hacking. Let's just do Haiku. And model inference. Sorry about that. Cross region inference tokens per minute. I mean, looks like we're. Dude, they bumped it up to like 20 on this. Inference requests per minute. This is not that great. Model max tokens per cloud 4.5. I think this is. Ooh. Okay, so the usual count limit is 2.8 billion, but they're only giving me 19 million. Not that crazy, but I'm kind of worried about this one. Cross-region model inference requests per minute. I'm not sure what region Claude 3.5 Haiku is in, but probably not that big of a deal. Let me just check what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We need to figure out which one, does any of these service quotas not good enough for Terry? Cool. Have it search the code base because I don't want to do that. I'll check Terry's current speech cadence and token cap in the room service and compare that against the quotas you pasted. Cool. So his speech cadence, I think it's like 8 to 15 seconds he talks. Okay. So one quota that may be too low is cross region model inference per minute is 20 requests per minute. That's not that bad. Yeah, I mean, 5 times per minute. I mean, we don't have more than one rooms going, so it's not that big of a deal. Let's look up, like, what is the poly? Actually, no, because he is talking. Why do you think he is using the fallback prompts and not Bedrock? Room pod logs and current model config. Terry's unit file looks like the should be logging the Bedrock code before it falls back. This model version has reached the end of its life. Ooh. Let's see if we can find that actually being logged. So I'm going to quick search. By the way, if you want to search for an old command, you just go Control R, and then you just type in whatever you think it is. Boom. So, dude, what is your command that you did, Chase? Great, glad you asked. I have a monitor script that allows me to log into the things on my EKS cluster, such as Argo. So this is my Argo UI. I'm just gonna set it up for looking at only the random rooms project. Okay, so which one is it? Random rooms room is I think where he is. Live room pod is logging bedrock failures. Okay, let me check that out. Random rooms, and let's go to a pod. Any logs? Ooh, here we go. Ooh. Okay. So monitors these are the okay. Which one is it? I mean, obviously we know it's the Claude 3.5, but like, where does it say that? It should say that. I feel like 765. Okay, we'll just assume that's right. Okay, so what do we need to change it to? So using format supervisor is no longer invocable under that model ID in this account region. You switch to better on those currently supported. Probably one, probably are available in your account. Yeah, let's do 4.5. Cool. Maybe we need to give him like a knowledge base or something too, so he can talk about stuff. But I guess we can just prompt him too. It's probably not that deep because it's actually not that much stuff going on. Switch area to Haiku 4.5 in both the rooms. Because if we give it access to the code base, I feel like somebody will be able to reverse engineer that and just completely decimate me. I don't know. Okay. So that is, we got the ID going. Now we're going to paste it in and use the different model. Switch area to 4.5. What do we need? Do we need a roll? Yeah, we need to push out the new image. So change direction or change directory or random rooms dash room. Cool. Get status. Let's see what they changed. It's a server. Get diff. So we changed the bedrock model ID out from 3.5 to 3.4. Get add comment push feature. I guess it would be a fix. And I like feature better. IQ 4.5 Terry. One. You don't need to know. Cool. And then we need to, so what that did, let's take a step back. Let's see what that did. I pushed to the random rooms dash room repo. So if we go over here to my organization, check that out. We see the commit here. I have a GitHub action set up for it. It's going to publish the image to our dev ECR repo. That doesn't make sense to you. It is a registry where you can store all your images. So if we go like random rooms room, you can find the image for it. Cool. So we have 38 right now. Let's see our life cycle. 30 newest untagged. We have 38. So we need to circle back to that. Somebody write that down. Okay. Let's change. Hold on. We're gonna go over here. What do we call this? We're gonna do, dude, it's not changing. Hold on. Dude, why is it? Are you seeing this? Okay. Anyways, change ECR policy dev. Okay, cool. Somebody wrote it down. I appreciate them for doing that. That's me. Let's go back to AWS. Cool. So now you understand how it pushes our image into dev. From there, how do we get the K8 repo? And go over here. Sorry. How do we get our cluster to pull that image and create a, where is it? Random rooms room. How do we let it create those pods, right? Because if we look at this, we're like, it pulled the image from that ECR repo dev. Here's the SHA of it. Well, it's set up by Argo. Argo continuously reads one of my repos in my org. It would be, sorry. It reads the K8 repo. So that's over here. Got a few commits on that, but yeah. That is over here. And we usually look at the clusters, dev east, services. We see our randomized value that we pass in. It should be something different. What do we do? There it is. Boom. So we passed in a different version for the Bedrock ID model. So why, if we just push, what did we just push then? If we pushed it to the image, why do we need to push it to K2? Let's go back and see what we pushed. I'm just going to open it up real quick. Constant Bedrock ID model. Okay. Okay, so it gets the environment variable or that. So it made a fallback pretty much. I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest. Because it's like either use what I tell you to use or use the old thing. That's like so stupid. Let me change that. I actually really don't like that, but so this is why we check things. You made the room image fall back to the haiku if the in passed through model was not available. I think that's what it did. Right, yeah. It's a default model. The for the case for the bedrock ID is missing. So the order is try to get the bedrock ID from the environment variable, which is right here, that we pass through. If it's absent, use the default that we just specified. If bedrock rejects that model call too, use Terry's local fallback text line. It does not currently try multiple routes, so it's a community route zone, but it only falls back to bedrock to local can lines. Okay. So just be like, the fallback should just be the canned lines, not another model. That's crazy. Yeah, exactly, bro. Makes me worried about what else she did. So glad I checked that. Oh my god. So he uses. Oh, so it can only use that bedrock model, and the environment one needs to match, or it doesn't work. Is that what it's trying to tell me? If missing the environment variable, default to model ID. I don't like that. Still don't like that. It should use the environment if not available. Available. I don't know if that's how you spell it. Use the fallback canned lines. Like, how hard is this to wrap your head around, bro? Exactly, bro. Straight to canned lines, man. Default's gone. Thank God. All right, get at copy paste. Fix feature. No, we're gonna fix. What are we doing? No. Fix. No default model. Only canned lines. Boom. There we go. I mean, technically we didn't check. I mean, this is what it said it changed. Okay. Change the directories, K8, get a copy paste, a feature, Terry, Bedrock Haiku 4.5. Boom. Okay. So the K8s change, it goes in pretty quickly because the cluster will auto sync. So I think that runs like I think I set it up to like every 30 seconds, something crazy. But you could also just go like this and sync all of them, prune if need be. Oh, it went to sync before I can even do it like that. So it is syncing and it's going to create a new room. But the thing is, it is probably going to get overridden in a minute here anyways, because our random rooms room just got re-pushed. So that was like 30 seconds ago. So it might do it again, is my point. Create a whole new stateful set. So let's talk about why this is a stateful set. A stateful set as opposed to a replica set means that this pod in this slot is always going to be called random rooms 0, then 1, then 2. This is important because if you look at some of the other ones where it's like matchmaker and then like a bunch of crazy numbers, because it doesn't matter. In the stateful set, it does matter. And the reason why it does matter is because I have a table somewhere in Redis saying that if this person comes in, they're matched to this pod. That keeps it a stateful session. This is important because we use WebSocket connections here, which is a bi-directional communication, okay? We need to have it connect to the same pod every time. You can't be routing to different pods or else there's no point having the WebSocket, right? So that's what's going on there. Actually, that's not true. It's not because of the WebSocket. It's because the coordinates with the person, it's not one room per pod, but it is one pod for rooms. Is that right? What's the right way? You have one pod for many rooms, but it is the same rooms in that pod, is what I'm trying to say. So let's, just for fun, let's go over here and actually we could we could just check it out. And we can go over here and check out the logs. It's listening. Let's go over here and leave and just join another one into a random room. Terry, let's just check these logs. It might not go to this one, but
Bedrock and Poly stay behind pod identity on
there we go.
EKS. No AWS credentials touch the browser.
So he had the
The
error.
front end renders 3.js locally, while the room service broadcasts authoritative avatar state.
On the bright side, that is a new error, so it is doing something. Model specific comfort straight LT doesn't allow temperature and top P. So remove the top P and kept temperature. Explain temperature and top P. I know what they generally concepts, but like explain temp and top P. So I think top P is like the more you increase it, the more words you could possibly choose from the most likely answers. And then temperature would be like the higher it goes, the more creative it would be in terms of it buffs out the distribution possibility so that the numbers at the top aren't as chosen. That makes sense. Yeah. So let me share my screen and explain that real quick. All right, check it out. We're gonna write down that note. That was a good one. We're gonna write like dev ECR policy, just so we remember. Okay, so let's talk about top P. Top P. The idea here is that you choose the smallest set of words for that number of probability. So if you have like a top P of like, let's just talk about some different ranges, right? Let's just talk about it. Let's go like 0 0.9, 0 0.5, 0 0.1. Okay. Actually, that would be good. Let's do full 1. If we do a top P of 1, that means the statistical probability for picking these numbers, when we add up the probability of picking those numbers, is choosing all of them. So all possible candidates that we could choose, and by candidates I mean like what is the next word, and then it's like a list of words, right? This one has a 2% possibility. This one has like a 20. This one has like a 35, right? What is that adding up to? 70. And then we've got like another 20 and then like a 10. So if you had the one top P, you could choose from all these words. If you had a zero point 0.9, you could choose from these words. If you had a 0.5, you could choose from, I mean, this isn't really split that well, but just like this much, just these two. So it kind of just limits the selection of what you're allowed to pick. So basically, the lower the top P, the more selective you are with your words, because you're trying to choose the smallest set of possibilities that can satisfy that. You're not trying to choose the ones that aren't as likely. So what's next? When we're trying to choose the next word, we also have what's called temperature. So temperature is talking about like the creativity of whatever you're trying to generate. If you go 0, you can go 0, 1, or 2. This is a new scale. It's not 0 to 1. So 0 means that it is deterministic. So that means, if like for example, if you ask me what my name is, I would tell you Chase every single time. Now, if I had like a 1 temp and you asked me what my name is, I'd probably tell you Chase, but I might also tell you it's Swolman, a nickname. So it's a little bit less. It's like balanced creativity. And then this one is just pure creative. If you go further than that, it's like hallucinating, which you can still hallucinate in these upper categories, but that's like a different thing. So, anyways, we got a little sidetracked. But the error was saying that, are we specifying it, or we're not supposed to? It's saying omit. Which one? It's the saying pick one. What exactly is the error? The error. Let me go back to AWS. It goes, the model return the following: temperature and top P cannot be both be specified in the model. Please use only one. Okay. So I would say that I would just use temperature and keep it to about 0.5. Okay. Let's use temp and do 0.5. Cool. It actually agreed with that. Use temperature and not top P. Cool. Temperature now fit to 0.5 when the room starts to check. Okay, cool. Thank you. Let me change directories real quick. If you do change directories minus, it goes back to your previous one, just by the way. Get app, copy, paste, fix, temp, 0.5. We done? Boom. Okay, so that is going into the random room image. And let's go over here to GitHub and check it out. I'm going to refresh just to see this come through. So it's doing its little super cool checks and stuff. What it's doing is logging into our ECR repo with our AWS credentials. It's building and pushing our image into that dev ECR. Should take a few seconds, 10, 20 seconds. It's already done, 10 seconds. So it's post node setup. Cool. All right. So let's go over to Argo and it should sync up. Okay. So new one is available. It is rolling out that stateful stat. It's going from back to front and it should be able to start here in a few seconds. Okay. Now it's on the next one. Now the way that this is able to see that there was a new image in our repo is something super cool inside of our cluster. It is called the Argo CD image updater. So it sits in our cluster and it watches all these repos in ECR. And if anything new comes in, then it updates the correct application. So let's go to random rooms room. As you can see, it's saying, hey man, it checks based off of annotations, I think. Let's see. So the spec is application rest image alias random room. What's it called? Image name is this ECR repo, the tag dev, and how often does it check? I'm not sure how often it checks, but that's basically how that works. So that's what did the rollout, and as you can see, nothing is out of sync or progressing. So we should be fine to go check out on Terry and see if he's working. Okay, there's Terry. Hey Terry, you wanna say something?
Chase built random rooms with separate repos because the matchmaker only owns placement logic. It uses managed Valkey to spread guests across rooms, while the room service owns the live simulation truth, so high-frequency movement never hits Redis and stays in memory inside the pod instead.
Okay.
The matchmaker uses managed Valkey to track room occupancy and guest assignment.
So that's like definitely new stuff. Let's just go and check what our pods are looking. Dude, I hate that the project's all the way at the bottom. I should reorganize that somehow. Let's go over here and click on the room again. Click on the latest stateful set. I don't see any errors on that one. Check this one. No errors. He's working. I would just make it a little bit more spaced out. Make his talk frequency every 40 seconds. Cool. Then render the chart from the environment. Speed scan is set to fix 40 seconds and rendering the room chart. Cool. So that is a value that we pass into our application with K8s. That should be over here. Oh, dude, I probably could have done this myself. I was already there. It was right there. It was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down. That's funny. Okay, so get at copy paste fix. Terry talks 40 seconds. Boom. Okay, so that pushed, and let's just refresh. It already notices that it's out of sync, and then it's going to do the rolling replace from back to front. Super cool. And you'll see it go through. And whenever it's done with number 1, I'd be more than happy to jump into the random rooms again. But yeah, so they take about 30 seconds because there's health checks on that go every couple 5. I think I've set it to 5 seconds, and then you need like 15-second timeout before you cancel it. Anyways, let's enter the random room. Let's see what Terry's doing. See if he talks too much now. He should talk just a little bit.
The matchmaker decides whether you get an NPC like me in your room, then signs that decision into your join token so the browser can't forge it. The room service verifies the signature before spawning me, which keeps NPC logic server-owned and trustworthy.
That's great, Terry. Thank you for sharing. So this is my 3D world right here. It's rendered by the 3JS library. And I didn't create any of this art. I just told the chatbot to do it. And I just kept yelling at it until I liked what it looked like. Now, it's not a very software engineering answer, but everything works. And if you go, I'm not sure if this is really that great of a metric, but if you go to inspect,
Chase
and
built the deployment pipeline so that code changes flow from the service repos straight into ECR. Then
yes,
Argo
Terry,
CD watches the GitOps repo and automatically rolls those fresh images into EKS using Helm values.
that's
That way
right.
the team pushes once and the cluster stays in sync without manual kubectl commands, which
That's
keeps dev
okay.
velocity high and reduces the gap between.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you very much. So if you look over here, actually, I'll move myself out a little bit out the way. If you look, there's no errors or warnings. Dude, who has that on their website? Isn't that crazy? All right, Terry, it's been real. See you in the next one.